It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 5 o'clock on the West Coast. And everything's happening all at once. So give me just a moment here. Got a lot going on all at the same time. I know this is riveting. It is the 13th of June in the year of our Lord 2024. Season 14, episode 33, 667 times. You have been welcome to the Clubhouse Podcast live. Whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on Facebook Live, whether you're checking out the audio version on the things. No. We have Apple Podcasts, we have Spotify, and we also have Amazon Music now. So we appreciate all y'all. Remember how you're here. We're just glad you're here. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Clubhouse Podcast, and this is going to be fun as I'm trying to get stuff done here. All right, I don't need that. We're good. We're hoping to have a special guest. We're having some technical difficulties. But speaking of which, Don out on assignment this week, but let me put my co-host back on the screen. He's back. Don's out. We're playing this weird version of the shell game. I don't know. But he's right there. And he looks entertained right now. He is Alex. Hey, man.
Well, they didn't know it's back on the screen as much as I don't know what's happening. But at least it looks like we might have some stability and can start doing the show.
Well, I mean, we'll get through it as much as we can. So let's dive right in. We are your one-stop shop for all pauses. Yep. Sports, entertainment, pop culture, and pro wrestling. We go into sports and we start with a sad headline that came to us yesterday as Jerry West passed away at the age of 86. For those of you that know the name, he is the logo. If you've seen the NBA
that's not
logo,
just a nickname. That is the logo.
He is the silhouette on the NBA logo, was literally in basketball for the better part of 70 years. Player.
Think about it. The man was so good. He's the only person to ever win the NBA Finals MVP on the losing side.
Yeah. And from player to coach to general manager, the guy had an eye for talent that not a lot of people did. Highly respected. Yep. And nary of ill words said about him from everything I saw. People said that Wilbon said on PTI yesterday that he'd see him at a card club in California and he'd sit down and Jerry would just start telling him stories. Called him Mr. West, and Jerry said, "Don't you ever do that ever again. My name's Jerry." Whether you like the Lakers or you don't.
It's one of those where one of my favorite Jerry West stories going into him as an executive was the night a certain Kobe Bean Bryant was drafted by a different team, and Jerry West said, "I'm going to go ahead and make a deal for that," and y'all messed up. Now, obviously cleaning that up from Jerry West to what we can say on air.
Indeed. So our best go out to the family, friends, and fans of Jerry West, an absolute legend. Let's see here. Let's keep it moving if we can. In what could be the weirdest headline this week? I know. Oh, well, hello. Who's this checking in on our chat room?
That is a friend of ours named Bard. Thanks for checking us out, Bard.
Hey, Bard. We're glad you're here. And it could be the weirdest headline this week. We all know, for those of us that have had jobs and especially in office environments, part of the deal of having a job is a little thing called a conflict of interest that you can have. Oh, hi, Sean. Sean's stuck in traffic. But she's listening, and that's the important thing.
Yep.
Because she's on her way back to the homestead. But is it a conflict of interest when it's really not? If you know the name Joey Chestnut, earlier this week, Joey Chestnut was told he cannot compete in this year's Nathan's hot dog eating contest because he has signed a deal. I'll get there. Let me get there. With what they're calling a rival hot dog company. Now, I am not personally sold on this because the rival hot dog company is Impossible Meats, so it's not real meat, and I don't see Nathan selling it. However, there is, as of yesterday, there has been a response, and the marketing genius behind Joey Chestnut has made an arrangement that on Labor Day, he will compete on a Netflix competition with Kobayashi.
And for those of you who don't know, Shigeru Kobayashi dominated the Nathan's hot dog eating contest before Joey Chestnut won.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting parallel you have here is Kobayashi got banned from competition years ago because he wouldn't sign the restrictive competitive eater contract that they all had to sign to be in Nathan's, tried to just show up as the multi-time champion and was physically removed and has not competed since, nor because probably the contract. So now you have Joey Chestnut in an almost, I don't want to call it identical situation, but they both wind up being banned from what they are the best in the world at because of contracts and red tape. Not a good look on Nathan's.
Yeah, and is this hurting Nathan's business? They make $1 bazillion a year regardless. And let me also,
I think it's one of those that they're just trying to overlord this whole thing so that nobody even tries to get squirrely with something that may actually be harmful to the company.
We just got notification.
Benefit of the doubt.
Just got notification from our special guest. We're going to reschedule. There were some technical issues on his end.
So it's a tag team match the rest of the way.
Were you being facetious?
No, I was just being coy.
Oh, okay. I don't know. That's like NASCAR saying you can't have sponsors on your vehicle. Like
there's no Prius car. You're not to Talladega in a Prius.
To me, it's not competition because I can tell you what has two thumbs and ain't having an Impossible hot dog. This guy, because I've tried it. And I was like, why is there grapes in it? Although that's not a thing, I tasted grapes.
Now I want to try an Impossible dog in front of a Nathan's shack just because.
My wife is doing the Impossible Meats thing, and she's enjoying it.
Good work.
No, I'm
not
carnivore.
Anything they do.
I am a carnivore. Unless they want to sponsor the show. That's a different set of questions. Moving on.
But I've actually enjoyed their stuff that I've had. I prefer real meat, but I'm saying that their stuff is edible.
From the Department of Smartest Man Alive. Did you notice I got the good echo back?
Yes, I did notice.
Upgrades are happening in the studio, and I'm very excited about this.
Well, I'm just waiting to hear if this is for you or for me.
For me.
Oh, that's right. We're not at that part of the show yet.
3 words. Utah Hockey Club. It is official.
Boo.
It is official. The colors, for at least for the first season, will be blue and white. This broke within an hour of us going live.
This is not a victory lap. They had said previously that for at least the first year, it's Utah Hockey Club. I have not seen anything that says this is the permanent name.
There were choices, and we went through them all.
But that's allegedly still going. This is the reveal of the jersey sweaters for their inaugural season, not tied to the name officially yet.
I think they should keep that name because I like that name.
With that logo, it's so boring. It makes Utah almost look interesting.
Hey. Remember, I am the governor.
At least until we get a certain matchup back on the rails. Craig.
Who will be here
yes,
in 4 weeks. For those of you in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Retro Expo coming up July 13th and 14th. Craig, Craig Price from Matinee Heroes and from Castoff is coming to town to moderate with me. Alex will be there as well at the Plano Center. This thing is stacked with guests. Go to retroexpo.com, get your tickets because the show's going to be a lot of fun. And I get to hang out with Alex and Craig for a whole weekend. Craig's staying here. So, very excited about that. And now Alex.
And you're going to recognize some voices you hear in various places.
I said you were going to be there.
I cut out. I actually had just a blank screen for like 30 seconds.
I think we're just going to call this up on the audio feed. We're just going to call this, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Okay. NBA playoffs underway.
This is now going to be the episode for Disney.
Alex is on a little bit of a delay right now, so we're going to let him catch up. But is this over tomorrow night?
Yes.
After the Mavericks go out to a quick 22-9 lead in the first quarter, Boston goes, oh, wait a minute, we're playing now? And then it all falls apart. I heard, and there's part of me that knew this, but it didn't register with me. Do you know the last time Boston lost a game?
I know they said it was 10 games. So that would mean it was last year?
Mm-mm.
Because is it a 5 or a 7 game series in the first round?
It's 5.
Okay, so 10 wins in a row. This would put it at the regular season.
Well, because they beat Miami 4-1, they beat Cleveland 4-1. The last time the Boston Celtics lost was May 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They haven't lost in over a month.
They haven't lost since Cleveland beat them in the conference semifinals 1 game. They've lost 2 games the entire playoffs. And we have said this since jump in this season, that Boston was the team to look out for. Things got a little wonky there for a little while, but once the wheels got back on, here we went. If you were worried, if you're a Boston Celtics fan and you were worried about the layoff, I don't think you are.
Oh, did you see the karmic siding for Boston before game 2?
Go ahead.
The matching Walton shirts from the entire Boston side.
Nice.
That was just black in memoriam, Walton in all caps across in tie-dye. And I was like, I love that. I would want to get one of those shirts, but I know that that's just buying into capitalism. But you tell me it goes to a good cause, I'm buying 10.
Like that's I said Boston in 6 going in. I did not expect this. This is insanity.
Yeah, I co-signed the Boston in 6 just based on them being ahead. But at the same time, I feel like Dallas had some time and it hurt them. Like there's that worry about how much time is off between rounds. And I feel like that layoff, because Dallas has a younger team, I believe, kind of hurt them on their stroke, their defense, getting in the flow of the game. And if you're playing a team like Boston, if you don't have it for 5 minutes, you're done.
And Kalashaw brought up something very interesting today. He was talking about Luka.
Always got time for Tim Kalashaw.
Absolutely. He was talking about Luka and how the trend he's been seeing is when they're at home, he kind of falls into what he called the Mark Cuban trap of getting heated and yelling at refs and trying to signal for replays.
Emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kalashaw said he doesn't do it on the road. So
there's a little bit of video evidence from Minnesota that would beg to differ.
but I guarantee you, if you look at it side by side, it's not even close.
Oh, it's not as dramatic. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want Dallas to get swept. But was it 98% of teams that go up 3-0 in the NBA playoffs win? Not only
actually, in basketball, it's the only sport where they're undefeated.
That's crazy.
Yeah, hockey, it's happened. Baseball, it's happened. Everywhere else, it's happened. In basketball, 3-0 is the death sentence.
Well, let's talk about hockey because tonight, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, my beloved Florida Panthers are in Canada taking on the Oilers. They're up 2-0. Again, I said it in the Western Conference Finals, and I'm saying it now. I do not trust Edmonton not to bring it tonight. I don't. Again, I will not. I said Panthers in 6 because Edmonton is a team that knows how to get hot at the right times, and they could come out guns blazing this evening. So
in any sport, it helps when you have the best player on the planet unquestionably on your side, as Edmonton does. Now, I am also the one who, to put it delicately, poo-pooed their chances in the Western Conference Finals, and don't worry, I got my fair share of crow. But they played amazing. What I'm more interested in with this, not only the shift in venue, not only in the adjustment with the time, but what happens when we still get Ekblad? Has there been any word on the possible suspension for the choke in the last game?
I have not heard anything.
Plus, who's injured based on how scrappy that game 2 was?
But there's only 3 games between these two teams in the regular season. Edmonton has 3 more losses than Florida does in the regular season. Same exact number of ties.
Well, the interesting thing about that is they played each other twice during the regular season, and Florida was 2-0 with an average goal differential of 3.5.
So, I'm hoping that Florida can pull this off, but I do not expect them to win tonight. And if not, I don't expect them to sweep. Edmonton will get at least 1 at home. And as we've always said, in the NHL is the one sport where home is not necessarily an advantage.
Well, because it's the same ice, it's the same boards, basically everywhere. But at that same point, I think they're actually, with the heater that Bobrovsky is on, having a Jaguar-like run through the playoffs, I could see Florida still winning this one, maybe a little bit closer. But what I can see is the, oh God, we can't get slept fury for Edmonton coming out in game 4. So I still think the Panthers pull off tonight, barring any people missing from the game on their side. But if healthy, I think the Cats win this one, Oilers win the next, and then it gets closed out in 6 as well.
Bobrovsky, isn't that Henry Winkler's character on Arrested Development?
I do.
No, that's Bob Blah Blah.
Oh. No, because I always hear the Bobrovsky, and I'm thinking of like when Deadpool dresses up as Bob Ross. That's where my mind goes with it.
Major League Baseball, let's talk standings in the American League East, the Tampa Bay Rays. Again, this division is mind-blowing. The Tampa Bay Rays are 32-36. They are 4 games below 500. They're 15.5 back in the division.
It's the race and everyone else.
They're a game behind Toronto. Toronto's a game behind Boston. And can I just say, last night, Boston was the city to be in if you are a sports fan.
Yes.
Holy crap. They sold out the Garden for people to watch the basketball game, to watch it because they were in Dallas. The Red Sox were playing the Phillies, sold out. 60,000 people at Gillette Stadium for Tom Brady going into the Patriots Hall of Fame. I was like, man alive.
And one of the things we learned is wheels off Drew Bledsoe is awesome.
Yeah. But Boston is now 11 games back on Baltimore. Baltimore now 2.5 back on the Yankees. Here's an interesting thought for you. It is June 13th. The Cleveland Indians are a game behind the Yankees right now.
I'm sorry.
Is that a biblical song of Armageddon? Oh, the Guardians.
Which team?
The Guardians. The
One
Guardians
game?
of the Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I've seen a few Major League movies in my time, so
I still think that they should do that movie and then just superimpose the new logo and just have it just badly done so it just floats around the screen.
The only thing I watch from that is no. I want Corbin Burnson and only Corbin Burnson. Anytime somebody says Indians, just have him go Guardians in that deadpan, angry old man voice.
The Chicago White Sox, they are 27 and a half games back in the division.
And trying to be worse.
They are 16 and a half back on Detroit. But they've actually had a win since the last show because they're only on a 4-game skid, where they were on an 18-game skid at one point.
Well, I think they played the Nationals in one series, and that's just a battle of who wants to be losers.
They've actually won 2 since last week because they're 2-8 in their last 10. The Detroit Tigers are 3 back on the Twins. The Twins 3 back on KC. KC now 5 back on Cleveland in the AL West. The Oakland A's.
Mm-hmm.
They're bad. And not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good in a way. They are 14 games back. Did we talk about the name, what ideas we had? Because I hadn't thought about a name, but I feel like it's a little too on the nose, and you had to have thought of it before, but I don't remember.
Well, I think the last time we started talking about it, we said we were going to pause until we got to closer to just summer, and then we were all going to pitch our own names and let people vote on it.
Well, because the one I thought of, like I said, it was a little too on the nose. It's very unoriginal, but it works. Just call them the Vegas Diamonds.
That it is on the nose, but I dig it. I'm good with it.
Because I was thinking about that as I was watching some stuff on the WNBA, and they have the Aces as their WNBA team. And so then my brain was like, oh, Diamonds, that works. So I think that's a great name, and I'm okay with it. And if it happens,
see, the one that I saw that always made me laugh was every time a team comes up for Vegas, it's the Vegas Transplants, because nobody's actually from there. No. Maddie had this whole bit about calling them the Transplants. Their mascot is a surgeon, so people can just cover their face and wear scrubs because of everything.
Oakland is a game and a half back on. Oh, I get to do it the right way now. Law. Law is 4 back on Houston. The Astros 2 back on the Rangers. The Rangers now 6.5 back on Seattle. Seattle is on a 4-game heater. In the National League West, the Colorado Rockies, they're 20 games below 500. And they are 17.5 back in the division. They're 6 back on the Diamondbacks. Arizona, a game and a half back on San Francisco. The Giants are a game and a half back on the Padres. The Padres now 6.5 back on Misty's beloved Dodgers. Shout out to Misty. Big event for her last weekend. We love our Misty. Mm-hmm. In the NL Central, the Pirates have fallen to last place. They are now, but this is another team. 4 games below 500, you're 8 back in the division. They are a game back,
but still.
Yeah, Cincinnati and the Cubs are tied a game ahead of them, but they're a half game back on St. Louis, and the Cardinals are only 6.5 back on Milwaukee. This is craziness.
Well, how do you feel about the true Cincinnati baseball headline of late?
Go ahead.
The kid that ran on the field. Because Cincinnati is garbage with garbage people. He jumped out of the outfield stands wearing a throwback Johnny Bench, ran all the way up to the center fielder of the Guardians, still had time to run mostly to left field before security caught up with him. Then he did a backflip, landed it, went to take off running again, and got tased.
I always think when I think of Johnny Bench, I remember that he played for the Reds, but he also had a TV show when I was a kid called The Baseball Bunch. And it was a Saturday morning. There was a bunch of kids with him, and he was teaching them the fundamentals of baseball. And I think at one point I was like an honorary member because we took something off the back of like a Cheerios box or something and sent it in. And at one, I had a picture of the Baseball Bunch and like a certificate, something. I loved that show. Big Johnny Bench fan.
Well, he is the answer that I've had my entire life that I now have to change. And that was, who's the greatest catcher in Major League Baseball history? It's Johnny Bench. However, now that certain other leagues are being recognized, the answer is Josh Gibson, and I don't care what anybody else says.
You're not going to hear me debate it. So, and in the only division that matters, the NL East, the Marlins are not doing well. They're 21
games last. We're not last.
Yeah, and you're what? 6.5 games ahead of Miami, who's 23 back in your division. You're 2 back on the Nationals. The Nationals are now 5 back on Atlanta, and I need Philly to continue to lose because we're 9.5 back of them right now. I hate the Phillies.
What I realized though? Who is the Mets owner right now?
That is your department, sir.
Right. But it's Steve Cohen.
Okay.
Do you realize there's an exact event that happened that the moment it happened, the Mets have just been terrible ever since?
I do not.
Dumb money.
Oh.
Ever since that happened with Steve Cohen shorting GameStop, we have been terrible.
Are you ready for your favorite game show?
I'm sorry, ready for banners? I am ready.
What is the run differential for the Chicago White Sox? We go live to Alex for his prediction.
Well, they actually won a couple of games, and I think it was like 135 the last time I was on the show. But with them winning a couple of games, I don't think it's going to be too terribly much. I'm going to go 148.
The Chicago White Sox are currently 17-52.
Yikes.
That is a 246 win percentage.
Keep going, boys. Take that Mets record for worst loss ever, or win-loss ever.
12-23 at home, 5-29 on the road.
Oh.
The closest team to them in run differential, there's only 2 other teams in the entire league that are in triple digits. Miami at minus 102. Colorado at minus 114.
Oh, well, Colorado's always crazy because of altitude.
The closest to them in the American League is Oakland at minus 82. The Chicago White Sox currently have a run differential of an even minus 150.
Oh.
It's June.
And we're not even halfway. It's barely June. We're in the first half of June.
You should see because
this is
Wilbon is a
brilliant marketing play.
Wilbon is a Cubs fan, but every time the White Sox come up, he just cringes. It's hilarious to watch.
But what if this is?
Go ahead.
What if this is actually the greatest marketing ploy in the history of baseball? Like, there's an all-world talent coming into the draft. If we tank horribly, we can get that generational player, but we give up so many runs that we can still advertise like, hey, we may not win, but you're going to see some scoring.
We want to send a shout out to the Oklahoma women's softball team with the 4-peat. Did you see the stats on this?
I did not see the stats, but 4-peats.
Senior class in 4 years has lost 15 games.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
They have a win percentage of like 983.
And it's just in time for the Olympics.
So shout out to the Oklahoma softball team. Congratulations on an incredible run.
Yeah, it's just you have to go to UCLA basketball back in the aforementioned Bill Walton era to come near that level of dominance.
Well, the research has been done.
Mm-hmm.
UConn basketball, women's
basketball, yeah.
There was somebody's women's lacrosse team did a four-peat. Like in the last 50 to 75 years, it's only happened like 4 times, but none of it was softball.
Yeah, well, but I have to bring it up because otherwise I'm going to get yelled at when somebody who's listening to the show gets home. But don't forget, you also have the Trinity College University, one of those that she went to. She's going to be mad at me. But the Trinity University that Sean went to, being undefeated for like 10 years in racquetball.
I love racquetball.
I do too, but if you look it up, it is the longest winning streak of any college program in the history of college. I'm going to
say Trinity College. That's what I'm going to go with.
I don't know which. I know there's one in Dublin and there's one in San Antonio.
We also want to send our best to the people in South Florida right now. They're bracing for some severe weather. Alex and I both native South Floridians, and when I read Broward, Dade, Palm Beach County, I was like, oh no. They're expecting some, it looks like the rains are returning. So we want to send our best out to everybody in Southeast Florida. Please make good choices, be smart, stay safe.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into some TV headlines. Apparently, we're going to reboot White Collar.
Well, we've already been talking about Suits for how long? So
but we don't know where it's going to go yet. We just know that they're going to reboot it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next? Burn Notice.
Yeah.
Which one of my favorite SNL skits of the last 20 years, they did a game show called What is Burn Notice?
You told me about this.
Oh my, that was a running joke with me and the Ginger Ninja for like 2 years.
I have a weird tangent I want to take, but I don't want to stop us down.
Go ahead.
So we have been avid fans of How Did This Get Made for a long time. I am currently almost done with Paul Scheer's book.
Oh, really? Mazel.
And he tells about auditioning for Saturday Night Live. And I'll give you a hint. You've never seen him on the show, and he auditioned at the same time as Amy Poehler.
Oh, wow. That sounds like the Judge Reinhold auditioning for Mork and Mindy story.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's more involved. It's a really good book, but I feel weird saying don't buy the book. So buy the book, but definitely get the audiobook. There's more.
Yeah, that's what he has said, that there's like a bunch of extra stuff.
But I'm reiterating firsthand, it's not just a marketing.
And if you're not following How Did This Get Made, what's wrong with you? It's a great podcast that Alex turned me on to, and then I forgot about it. I wasn't
going to say it. I wasn't going to say it.
Credit where credit is due. You told me, I forgot, I stumbled on it, and you're like, dude, I told you about this 6 months ago.
No, it was one of the first conversations we ever had. Literally.
Almost a decade ago.
I thought it was more.
No, because it was the Voldemort of shows, and that was 2017.
That is true.
I think it was 2017.
I don't know.
ABC News, Jason George, who was on Station 19, that show has ended, so he is going to return to Grey's Anatomy for season 21.
Okay, so I asked Sean this because she's an avid watcher. Haven't they been going into their final season multiple times?
Grey's Anatomy?
Mm-mm. I swear there was like either talk about it or setting up like they were doing it, and then they just kept going.
2 or 3 years ago, but then they were like, no, there was never anything set in stone.
Okay.
I do remember the discussion because my wife was not happy.
Well, in that scope, I wonder if you have a certain headline just for me.
We'll find out. Apple TV Plus has renewed Palm Royale for season 2. My wife did enjoy watching that. The morning show will not have Julia Margulies for season 4. She will not be returning. They got some other people joining that show. And a show I believe you enjoyed, it was either you or Don enjoyed. They have renewed Hijack with the Idris Elba for season 2.
That was Dawn. That was on my list to watch, but you know how our lists are.
We are getting the Hollywood Squares revival on CBS that Drew Barrymore will be your center square. Nate Burleson will be your host for that.
Shout out to that dude coming so far with minimal training. He's so good. He is so good on TV.
I enjoy his work. And they have renewed After Midnight with the Taylor Tomlinson for season 2. I like her. She's very, very funny.
Yeah, I agree.
HBO Max has canceled Tokyo Vice after 2 seasons, but the producers are trying to find a home for it. Mm-hmm. Peacemaker season 2 has added Tim Meadows.
Yes.
I love him.
I love that show too. So it's going to be great.
We know House of the Dragon starts back up on Sunday. It's already been renewed for season 3. And the prequel series about the Greyjoys, 10,000 Ships, is back on.
As well as another one in discussions. But what I want to say is, please stop thinking they actually put banners on the Eiffel Tower. Please stop thinking they put gigantic banners on the Brooklyn Bridge. Please stop thinking they covered a pyramid in banners. It's CGI. Really good CGI, but it's CGI.
An interesting news coming from NBC. When Late Night with Seth Meyers starts back up in September, they will not have a band.
I did see that about the budget cuts is the excuse, but
they're saying Armisen's still going to be the band leader, so I don't know if he's just going to kind of be his Ed McMahon now.
I guess
or how that's probably, because I love Fred Armisen. I'm a big fan.
I am too. But what I think they'll do is they might have particular guests as like the sit-in band or something. It's kind of a cool concept, actually.
And they have renewed Jimmy Fallon through 2028.
It baffles me that man has had a career as long as he has.
I contend, though, when they did the Celebrity Family Feud skit and Justin Timberlake was playing Jimmy Fallon and they were facing off, one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because Timberlake was just all in his all right, my man. And just the look on Fallon's face, like, I am going to kill you when this is over. It's just that I could watch that clip on a loop. Netflix has renewed the Upshaws for its 7th and final season.
Okay.
By the way, Bridgerton, their season part 2 dropped today. My wife had forgotten, and I reminded her, and she was like, "Ooh, I gotta watch it tonight." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and if you know any women in your life, you've probably seen it on social.
So, Arcane on Netflix. This is an anime series that will end after season 2. And did you know that Netflix is doing a series based on Man on Fire?
Yes, I saw the casting.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II,
who is awesome.
Yes, he is.
And if you want me to prove it, go watch the first Aquaman.
So he will be the star of that series.
That's a great choice too. That is really good casting.
Great movie. We have your villain for Star Trek Starfleet Academy on Paramount Plus.
Yes, we
Paul Giamatti, are you this guy? He can do whatever he wants, and I'm okay with it. And I saw this casting, and I was like, you know what? I'm here for it. Let's go. I want to go to there right now.
They have to make a rhinoceros joke. They have to make a rhino joke.
Almost as bad as I'm waiting for the new season of Strange New Worlds. That is the one Star Trek series that absolutely knocked me out of this. I hate to say fleet because it's a play on words. But of Star Trek series. Now, Lower Decks I haven't started yet, but the crossover.
I love Lower Decks. I love Lower Decks.
You have to watch the crossover episode they did with Strange New Worlds, though. Basically,
you told me this on a multiple occasion.
There's a snafu where they turn into real people, and they wind up on. Oh, it's so good. And they even changed the opening credits of Strange New Worlds to parallel that of Lower Decks. Yeah, it's amazing.
There's such smart people on those shows.
Well, it's like because the people that are running all this stuff now are the people that we were kids with that were like, why don't you do this? Well, now you have power and money and you can do these things. Well, the things that we talk about.
You know what it really is? But remember, there is somebody who does things first, and everybody follows along. It's George Lucas looking at super fan Dave Filoni and going, "Oh yeah, you do know what you're doing. Go for it." And now they realize that they can make a buttload of money by handing it off to the next generation. No pun intended. Not gonna lie, I saw that right in the middle of me saying it, and I felt bad.
You're good. You're good. Last week when you were out, we talked about the fact that Perry Gilpin is returning for season 2 of Frasier to play Roz. We have 2 more alumni from Frasier returning for season 2. Dan Butler, who played Bob Bulldog Briscoe, the sports guy, he's coming back, as well as Edward Hibbert, who played Gil Chesterton. Okay. They will be back for season 2 of Frasier. My wife was kind of hot and cold on season 1. I loved the original so much. I was a little afraid. Prime Video has said The Boys will end after season 5.
I did not watch regularly, but every one I watched, I enjoyed.
I'm assuming you're talking about Frasier.
Uh-oh. This is bad.
You have me? I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I believe you were talking about Frasier.
I'm getting every few words.
Okay, were you referring to Frasier as you? Because I had moved on, and I'm like, I know what you're saying right now does not apply to what I'm currently talking about. But I was saying how The Boys is going to end after season 5.
Yes. You know what? I saw the post of the last page of the script for the season, the upcoming season, and I'm curious how that's going to happen.
And they dropped the first 3 episodes today, right?
You know, I believe it is today. I have not wanted to look at it because with Sean not being home, and that's one of our shows, I do not watch without her.
And in the very rare USA headline, they're going to turn John Grisham's The Rainmaker into a series, which is interesting enough.
Isn't that the one they did with Tom Cruise as a movie?
No, that's The Firm. The Rainmaker was Matt Damon.
Oh, okay. You can tell how many of them I've watched.
And Jason Blum will be producing.
Oh, interesting.
It's an interesting move. So, TV on DVD and Blu-ray this week, season 1 of NCIS Sydney, because that's a thing. Yeah. Season 13 of Call the Midwife, which my wife is a big fan of. And the complete series of the sci-fi classic Warehouse 13.
Nice.
Available this week. Let's get into movie talk. Amazing what can happen in 7 days. Or last week, we talked about 5 different Alamo draft houses that were closed by the franchisees. And then earlier this week, Sony Pictures goes, hey, we'll buy the whole shooting match. The big question has been about the one in Minnesota and the ones here in DFW that were closed. From the information I have gathered, that is kind of a separate bit because of the bankruptcy court. Would I be shocked to see Alamo write the check and own those 2? I would not, because you've already got the buildings and everything in it.
Yeah.
And
the real hard part we have here is with it's a franchisee situation as well.
Right.
So there's a different layer to just owning it outright as part of the conglomerate.
And this is as a result of a law that had been around since the 40s that was repealed in 2020 about studios owning movie theaters. I'm okay with this. I really think they should go ahead and take those other 5 because, again, you've got the buildings. Everything's in it. They've only been closed for a week, so it's not like everything's deteriorating.
And if the franchising fee is really what the killer was, guess what? You don't have to worry about if you own it.
Exactly. We have an announcement from Netflix on Christmas Day. They will debut Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, FOWL.
I don't know why I love those, though. Wallace and Gromit's great.
They're simple and they're fun and it's British.
And it's unique.
Yes. Speaking of things of its ilk, we found out that the Angry Birds movie 3 has gone into production. This is still a thing.
I remember feeling this exact same way when we announced Angry Birds 2.
We also have your announcement for the live action Moana that Dwayne will be playing his role in. Your title character is a Catherine Lagaia, Laga apostrophe AIA. She was in a series called The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart on Prime Video. She played the young version of the title character.
Okay.
That's what she's got. And we've got your announcements of your governor's awards from the Academy for coming for next year. That will be Richard Curtis, the director, Quincy Jones, Barbara Broccoli, and Michael G. Wilson, long overdue.
Yeah.
Your producers of the Bond films, and casting director Julia Taylor, who is legendary in the business. They will be getting the governor's awards. Movie new releases tomorrow. I kept saying this week because I'm still getting used to the show being on Thursday. Inside Out 2 hits tomorrow. The original is one of my favorite Pixar films of all time. It is at least on the medal stand. I am hearing very good things about this one as well.
Yes.
I don't want to cry in a movie theater.
I do it more than I care to admit. No, I don't care. I do it a lot.
Because that first one hit me clean in the feels.
You know, I feel like I missed something, and not trying to be coy by saying feel with the first one. But I saw it once and I was like, okay, I can see why people like this, but I feel like it missed me, or I was watching it distracted and I'm not sure what, but I feel like I need to go back and watch it again.
Also this week, a movie called Firebrand. This has Jude Law, Eddie Marsan, and the Alicia Vikander in it. Catherine Parr, the sixth wife of King Henry VIII, is named regent while the tyrant battles abroad. When the king returns, increasingly ill and paranoid, Catherine finds herself fighting for her own survival. I have seen this trailer. Holy cow. This looks intense.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look at it. Well,
directed by
subject matter.
Yeah, directed by a Kareem Inuz, A-I with the umlaut N-O-U-Z. He did nothing that I can recognize off the bat, but he's got a lot of skins on the wall. So, also this week, a movie that, come on, where are you? Oh, I'm in the wrong, stupid, multiple laptops, multiple keyboards. One that I wish I caught the screening for and I didn't, the new Julia Louis-Dreyfus film, Tuesday. This is a mother and teenage daughter.
Abbott and Costello routine from us.
A mother and her teenage daughter must confront death when it arrives in the form of an astonishing talking bird.
And funny that you bring this up, because I had mentioned earlier, like within the last 10 minutes, that I cry at a lot of different movies, but not everything. Sean might disagree. I was only a minute into this trailer and was full waterworks. So fair warning, bring the tissues.
We also have a movie called Ghostlight this week. This is father and daughter in real life. Keith Kupferer and Catherine Mallon Kupferer, when a construction worker unexpectedly joins a local theater's production of Romeo and Juliet, the drama on stage starts to mirror his own life.
Interesting.
Also this week, a movie called Latency. Let's see, we got when Hannah, a professional gamer who suffers from acute agoraphobia, receives new equipment that enhances her game, she begins to wonder if it is reading her mind or controlling it. So there's that. And then also, Jennifer Esposito in a brand new movie this week. Haven't said her name in a while. It's called Fresh Kills. The star follows the story of the loyal women of an organized crime family that dominated some of the boroughs of New York City in the late 20th century. And she directed and wrote it.
Very cool.
Love her. Big fan of Jennifer Esposito. Let's see. There's anybody else. I know that name. Annabella Sciorra is in this.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan of her.
She actually crossed across my Facebook the other day.
Is that who I think it is? Let me go through. Of course, I have to click the stupid arrow. Keep going.
What's the name?
Hold on, I can tell you in a minute because Yep, it's exactly who I think it is. Dominic Lombardozzi. He was in The Wire. He was Herc.
Dominic Lombardozzi. Yeah, he's in everything that surrounds New York. I think it's a requirement. Somehow it got baked into law that if you shoot anything around the tri-state area, he gets a role.
And Nicole Ehinger. I know that name. Ehringer. She was in the AMC Nosferatu series. She was in Disney's live action The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Movies on DVD and Blu-ray this coming Tuesday. Paramount Presents is doing a 4K 2-pack of Chinatown and The Two Jakes.
Oh, wow.
We're getting a 2014 RoboCop and a RoboCop 2 collector's edition. Would you like your trivia, my personal life trivia about RoboCop 2?
Sure.
RoboCop 2, released in 1990, and you'll figure out how I know that here in a minute, is the very first R-rated movie I saw after turning 17.
We've had that talk, but yes.
It was the same week. They're doing a limited edition of American Gigolo. Great song from the soundtrack. That's where Blondie's Call Me comes from.
Yep.
And the Criterion Collection this week does a Mexican film called Victims of Sin, which is about a woman who is a club dancer who finds a kid who was abandoned and decides to raise the kid and protect him from his gangster father. And also on the Criterion Collection this week, the Jennifer Tilly Bound.
Okay.
Gina Gershon.
Yes.
All right. So we got that going for us, which is nice. But now we have this going for us. Forgot to unmute my mic. Man, I was ready to go. It is now time for the other half of our show. It is the Cheap Podcast, where we talk to you about all things in the world of professional wrestling. And this week, I would like to start with a question. It is a burning question. It is a question that's going to set discussion across the internet on a level it has never seen before. Possibly on the low end, but it's still going to be a record. As I was watching Impact last week. You with me?
Now I'm with you. Yes.
Okay. As I was watching Impact last week, it was the 20th anniversary of the show Impact. They said that they are now the third longest running episodic series behind Raw and SmackDown.
Okay.
Should shows like pro wrestling be in their own category for stuff like that? Because they don't take an off season. Like even Around the Horn and PTI take time off.
Allow me to answer that in a separate way.
Okay.
I can understand the argument for them being in their own category because it is sports entertainment, but calling it episodic has never set right with me. Because with the way they do it, and we've always said, you have to give them a measure of grace because it's somebody's first time every time. So they do a lot of recapping, but that makes those shows self-contained. So it's not truly episodic, even if there's stuff that affects the next. But that happens with Monday Night Football as well. So I really feel, and I know I will catch flack from certain tryhards on this one, but they should be under the sports category.
I agree 100%. Because, I mean, like, if you want to really go there, I would say in the last 10 to 20 years, Major League Baseball may have passed them because of the number of games they play.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at 162 games, just regular season. Multiply that by what? There's 24 teams?
30.
Yeah.
So you do half that with 15. Or 32, and you do half of it with 16.
So now you're talking 32,000 episodes a year, not counting the playoffs.
But
Or 32.
it's marketing. We know it's marketing. We're just wasting time on it because it's marketing.
3,200 a year, not 32,000. What am I doing?
Carrying one.
NWA announcing Someway 2 is coming October 26th. It will be at the Robarts Arena in Sarasota.
And other NWA news, we're almost a month since the show, and we still haven't gotten to episodes shot in 40.
Well, and there's something else that's going to come up on that here in a minute, too.
Yeah.
But also from NWA, Natalia Markova and Brian Idol have inked new deals.
Okay.
Natalia has said hers is multi-year.
That's not surprising.
So,
and you know what? She's one of those people that I gained infinitely more respect seeing her work in person.
TNA, AJ Francis is your new digital media champion.
He's one of the right choices for that because crossover.
And tomorrow night is Against All Odds, and it is sold out.
Anything you're looking forward to there?
I mean, I'll watch it because I have TNA Plus. I mean, I'm going to go probably after work, at least mow the front yard, and then watch that. Yeah. I'm not like I want to go to there, but I'll watch it. You know, because it's going to be another one of those weekends where it's just like there's a lot going on.
That is true.
MLW has announced that for Blood and Thunder, July 12th in Tampa, Mads Krul Kruger will fight Matthew Justice in what they call a 3 stages of destruction match.
Wasn't there something like that? We've heard like the 3 levels of hell match or something like that.
Yeah, WWE did that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What?
I just got a great message from Craig.
Okay.
Very excited about what he just sent me.
MLW 3 levels of destruction. Yes. Have they revealed anything?
The first match is a street fight.
Okay.
The second match is a first blood match.
Okay.
The third match is a medically evacuated match, which I would assume is just basically a last man standing match.
It's an ambulance match.
Yeah.
Well, is Kruger still wearing a full mask, isn't he? So the first blood's a little bit weird.
Yeah. So there's that. And then Saturday night is Clash at the Castle. Mm-hmm. Or I'm not Saturday night. Saturday night there. It's lunchtime here.
Yep.
I guess I could say I'm mildly intrigued because of all the things that are flying around about this show that may or may not most smoke signals. But
a lot of posting from Joe Hendry about being in Chicago without anything that's really descript. I'm just
today I saw him just post a picture of the Chicago flag, and I was like,
"That's what I'm saying." It's so nondescript; it could literally be anywhere.
Thank you, Pat McAfee. So we'll see how that goes. Jordan Grace is doing the mocap work for 2K25.
Nice.
So you got that going for you. And Cody Rhodes. God bless you, Cody Rhodes. Did you see what he's doing?
Which the man does so much. You're going to have to be more specific.
There is a promotion in Uganda called SGW.
Okay, I have a slight issue with this story, but go ahead.
So a little ways back, Will Ospreay gave this promotion the money to lease the land that they're doing their school and shows at. Mm-hmm. Cody said he wanted to give them a proper ring to use. There were going to be logistics problems getting it over there. It was going to take forever. Cody then does some research, finds a ring maker in Uganda, and has bought the ring, and they're going to have a proper ring to do their classes and their shows in. So shout out to Cody Rhodes. We go live to Alex, who has a point of contention.
Well, before the point of contention, we don't want to dismiss anything else because we also had Brennan and Mansoor who literally went to SGW to do a show and bought them a van for them to all travel to different areas to plug as well.
I did not know that. Very nice.
Yeah. The only point of contention, I'm not against them having a ring, so bear with me. But do you know what SGW stands for?
I do not. I did at
It
one
is-
point, but I don't know.
It is soft ground wrestling. So because it's called SGW, because they would cut like essentially a mud square, and that would become their ring. So it was the soft ground that they wrestled on. If they have a ring, there's no longer soft ground. So do they have to change the name?
No, because the NWA is not an alliance anymore.
Well, technically it is again now.
Well, we'll see how that goes.
Oh, then that tells me you don't know about what the alliance is.
Well, I know that they've got more territories now, but
right, all the territories are people contracted with NWA at their schools.
So Alex is a fan of the Stone Cold IPA.
Mm-mm.
I thought you were.
No, the lager.
The-
IPA is for people who don't know what good beer is.
I don't drink, so I don't know.
I know, but
But you are a fan of Stone Cold's branded adult beverage.
Yes.
Okay. Because you got another one coming by the end of the year.
I saw this.
The Real American Beer. Somewhere, Budweiser's like, did we not copyright that? How did we not? Did we not? We didn't? No?
Oh, sir, there was a typo. We had Real American Beero. We got the Beero, but there's no O.
And the way it's described is like, it sounds like every other beer. Like, there's nothing describing this that means anything. Battleground was a thing.
I don't even want to give it the grace of calling it that thing outside of the women's
my
match.
button? I said this to Alex the other day on the phone. I'm glad he said what I was thinking about this show, because by the time I got to Alex's house to watch this plea, I was exhausted. Like, I had been at Fan Expo Dallas all weekend helping out Dave, had a great time. And then I had church on Sunday morning, and I was done. I was done like dinner. I ended up having Alex talk to me the entire drive home.
Yeah.
So that I could stay focused, because I'm telling you, I was beat. And I thought maybe it's just because I wasn't in a good frame of mind that this was a thing. Like, this is not, This was a bad show.
I will go one step further. This was the worst show of a special nature I have ever seen. It's not even close.
For NXT.
I'm talking about for any. And now, granted, there is a level to this that I would say it definitively if it wasn't for Jordan Grace and Roxanne Perez. Trick
I will tell you,
Ethan Page, big E, big P on the Ethan Page. Okay. The women's title match was really good. Everything else was absolute. I don't have the board to bleep myself, but I want to say something that comes after dog.
I will still watch this before I will watch the horror show at Extreme Rules Horror Show again.
Now, this is also where you and I come a little bit head to head. I will give that one more credit for at least trying to do something. I will give it the birth of trying to do something unique, even if it is failing.
We have breaking news from the NFL. The Dolphins have signed Calais Campbell.
Oh, he's keeping the tour up.
And we also have, at the end of one, Panthers 1, Oilers nothing. All right. It just, because I even said to Alex on the phone, I was like, the next day after I got home and slept a little bit and you know got up and running on Monday, I was like, maybe I need to watch this again now that I'm a little bit rested. Then I talked to Alex and I'm like, no, it wasn't me. This show was just that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the way they laid it out. I thought that was a great layout there at the Apex. I think it's
the Apex
for them to do shows like this because they don't have to put it in the Barclays Center or, you know, like if you're going to do that for WrestleMania weekend, I can roll with you. Put that in the T-Mobile Center when you do stand and deliver. I get that because it's already set up. But man, this was bad.
Yeah, and I think there's also the hard part of they wanted to compare just from the start the men's North American title match that was won in a ladder to this one. And the problem is you had all the, like, go back and look at who was in that match, and you'll be hard pressed to find somebody that is the non-talent.
The original one?
The original one, yes.
Mhm.
Now, and then you go to this one for the inaugural, and it's like, okay, we have Mia Yim, because not calling her the other thing. You have Fallon Henley that has put in work. And then the spare. Now, I am not taking away any athleticism, but the level of interest in these characters, paint drying has a higher grade for viewing, in my opinion. But you had a very valid point about this, but I was also said this was literally the worst person to pick. Please go ahead.
The inaugural ladder match for the North American Championship was over 8 years ago. It was 6 years ago. It was 6 years ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, but look at who's in that.
That was EC3.
NWA champion.
Killian Dane.
Who is running things overseas.
Mr. O'Shea.
Who is about to get paid a lot.
Lars Sullivan.
Okay, that's a spare on a different level, though.
Somebody whose name will never be mentioned in WWE again.
I don't know if I agree with that statement, but I know who you're referring to, but mega talent, that's why.
And your winner, an inaugural North American champion, was Adam Cole.
Bye.
Thank you.
But what I'm saying is there's nobody in that list that is not a unique character or talent of its ilk. And I felt like a lot of the women in the match were redundant and underdeveloped.
So they don't actually list the champions in a row. That kind of sucks. Oh, here we go. Let me see if it'll give me there we go. There have been 22 different reigns.
Okay.
Of the North American Championship. Combined days, Carmelo Hayes has the record at 273.
Mm-hmm.
Even though WWE recognizes 272. Wes Lee is only 4 days behind him with 1 reign.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. O'Shea that's 269. Mr. O'Shea at 161. Keith Lee at 175. Johnny Gargano 3 different times at 181. Obafemi currently at 157. So he's only 4 days away from taking 6th place.
The only way Obafemi does not overtake that entire list is a Keith Lee situation where he wins the big title and then gracefully hands off the North American title.
Would you like the rest of the list?
Go for it.
Only 3 men have had multiple reigns.
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo Hayes twice, Gargano 3 times, Dominic Mysterio twice. He is in 8th place at 141. Cole is in 9th.
Yeah.
At 133. Roddy Strong at 126.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Swerve Scott at 105. Damian Priest at 67. Cameron Grimes at 63. Bronson Reed at 42. Dragon Lee 31. Leon Ruff 25. Solo Sikoa 7. Trick Williams 3.
But remember, the Solo Sikoa was just to pop people like us who are like, oh no, he can't win. He's already gone up. And then they did that.
Yeah. So, I mean, but again, yeah, trying to compare that one to this one, it just, man. Like, you can see how much we didn't like this show because we just spent 5 minutes just talking about the North American Championship.
Yeah. And not positively.
But to me, that Kalani Jordan winning that is one of the things that Don talks about when it comes to Money in the Bank.
I absolutely agree with that. The problem is you need some level of shine for it to become a star-making device. And to be honest, I didn't think of it going in. You're the one that brought it up while we were watching the broadcast. The person that would best benefit would be Lash Legend. So you have the dynamic between her and Trick, but then you have the other aspect of, well, she's already got a story people are invested in. So why not Jada Parker? Because we were talking about OTM needing something to jumpstart them because they have a great look. The problem is that every time they show Jada Parker trying to be athletic, it's not.
Well, and they had the bit on NXT this week where you're going to have that six person mix tag with OTM and the Good Brothers and Michin. And how about Fallon Henley shouting out Mickey James?
Absolutely.
And
Fallon
Mickey
Henley gets it. She just absolutely
Mickey James actually shouted her out, and then Fallon responded.
Absolutely.
Gigi Dolan apparently out injured, but we don't know for how long. And the only thing I really took away from NXT this week was Cody Rhodes. Don't play with me. I cannot remember the last time I don't want to use the word excited, but with this relationship between WWE and TNA, I'm a little giddy right now for this battle royal. Do not let me down, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because the possibilities of what could happen this Tuesday night, and I'll tell you why, because my logic stays intact. TNA won't tape until the weekend. Or they might wait and tape later down the road until after NXT, which I don't think they will because they usually have those dates set. But you could have the Rascals come to the aid of Wesley in his fight with Gallus Boys on top. You've got the Joe Hendry conundrum. You've got like the possibilities of the stuff they can do is endless.
I just had a realization when you started speaking about this, though. What if we've all been worked on something?
Go ahead.
What if we have the overseer, we'll call it? So you have Shawn Michaels in charge of NXT. I honestly don't know who's in charge of TNA right now.
Nobody.
Tommy Dreamer. I think it's Tommy Dreamer.
By default.
Yeah. But where we've been worked is you have an overseer as the tiebreaker on what to do with the two rosters. Out comes Scott D'Amore with Bobby Roode as his backup.
I'm the consortium. But I'll tell you, Jordan Grace had a really interesting idea in an interview the other day for NXT to bring back Worlds Collide.
Oh,
and have
that's a cool
their version of Forbidden Door.
That is very true.
I'm like, you know what? I really enjoyed when they did Worlds Collide.
I thought it was very uniquely done. Yeah.
Yes. Let's do that. And make that your NXT plea the weekend of SummerSlam.
I could see that. Well, does TNA have anything big in other seasons that might be better suited?
Bound for Glory.
But allow me to say, like, I understand attaching it to a particular large weekend, but I was saying, would they be more freed up for Survivor Series, or would they be more freed up to do it around Rumble, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't care how you do it, just do it.
Fair enough. I
had
a booking angle on
will that. Be tuning in Tuesday night for sure. That probably is one that I'm not going to wait for Wednesday morning. I'm going to watch that on 30-minute delay so I can skip the commercials. But
right. But I actually have two notes from NXT.
Go ahead.
One of which is Trick and them heels. Bro was wearing 6-inch heels to be taller than Cody Rhodes.
Pay no attention to the boots. Pay no attention to the boots.
Trick's wearing leather pants.
This guy's so the pants.
But the other one was when we had the little fun moment of Cody, Sean Spears, Ethan Page, and Lexis King all on the screen just going, hey, these guys used to work together somewhere.
Did you see the picture they took afterwards?
I did not.
They're all doing the Spider-Man meme.
Oh, I did see that. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there might have been something else.
Because I was on the phone with you when that happened, and you're like, this is weird, dude.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch until sometimes, like, I get to the point, I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn this on, and then I'm like, you know what, I can't. I'll just do it in the morning.
Right.
AEW news: Dax Harwood out with a back injury, and Kiera Hogan is out with a shoulder injury.
That's unfortunate. It looked like they were going to start pushing her a little bit.
Yeah. Not much really to talk about from an AEW standpoint this week. We do know now that Blood and Guts will be next month instead of the end of this month like it normally is. And it will be the Elite versus Team AEW. MJF
So we're going
Roosh
to go back to the same well, but with different people.
Yeah. MJF Roosh will kick off the show this week, and it will be commercial free. So get ready for that.
How long do you think that match actually goes, though?
I think it'll go 20, 25 minutes.
Because those two can 15 or less. Oh, I'm not saying that they can't. I think it'll be 15 or less just because you have MJF coming back from injury. You have Roosh, who was injured before that, coming back. And
well, the reason I say that is your normal opening segment on a wrestling show is going to go 18 minutes before commercial.
Oh, I know it usually does.
You know,
usually. But I'm thinking this is one that's going to be a little bit fuzzy.
Did you watch the Mercedes Moné match?
Not intently.
The tope that she was on the receiving end of.
Oh, I did not catch this.
One of the stiffest topes I've ever seen. The lady she wrestled, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, and I will screw it up. She came between that middle and top rope, and I mean that shoulder was square right in the middle of Mercedes' chest, and I mean, bam! I was like, woo!
But big asterisk on this. Zeuxis is a thick woman, but it is fit. It is strong. That it's not a knock on her shape or character. She's just, especially compared to Mercedes Moné, who might be 37 pounds soaking wet. Anything that hits solid, and they do work snug in Mexico because that's how they're taught.
Mm-hmm.
So you were setting up for something like that. I'm just glad that everybody should be healthy coming out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a perfect spot. Like from a casual observer standpoint, like I can't tell you the last time a spot happened and I jumped out of my chair.
Yeah.
Where I was like, whoa! That was an outstanding spot on both, because it took both of them to execute that.
Yeah.
As perfectly as it was done. But I thought that was an outstanding spot. Other than that, I did like the very, very end where they got right up close, and when Swerve was talking to Ospreay after he grabbed the belt, he said, "You're lucky that we're friends, because anybody else ought to put him down."
Mm-hmm.
So I think that match is going to be outstanding to watch at Forbidden Door. A couple of notes from Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor does this thing called a proving ground match.
Mm-hmm.
And in this match, a person goes against a champion. And if they can either pin or submit the champion or last 10 minutes, they get a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, because they're doing more of these. There's two on this week's episode. I've already watched one with Billy Starks. Put a clock on the screen.
Yeah.
Because this is the whole point of the proving ground match. Put a clock on the screen. And how long has it been since Vegas now? 3 weeks? Because it was the day before Memorial Day.
I want to say something like that. Yeah.
They're still showing matches from Ring of Honor, still showing matches from that taping.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Let it be its own brand and do its own thing. Put it at Universal Studios for all I care.
Yeah.
And do a show a week, just like WCW Saturday Night, because I'm doing my best, Tony. I want to support you, brother. I do.
I mean, here's the thing. You don't even have to put it at Universal. They have precedent. Just put it at dailies. You don't have to pay extra.
Well, and it just like, I just lost my train of thought. It just like, let it be its own thing, because it's frustrating because nothing happens. You might get a good promo every once in a while. And I have beaten this drum for months. Let it be its own thing, because you've got champions that show up on different shows, and to me, it diminishes the Ring of Honor product.
If you want it seem like the lower leagues being brought in.
Right. If you want it to be your NXT, let it be your NXT. I'm okay with it. But it's just like, I'm very meh. But I will say this, at least they're not going 2 hours solid anymore.
That is true.
Because the first thing I do when I queue up the live feed as I'm getting ready to do the show is I hit that little arrow and it tells me how long the time frame is for the live. I'm like, okay, it says it's an hour and 11 minutes. We're good. Because I can watch most of it before the show. But they're just, it's like, watch the pay-per-views. You get what you need. And that gets included with Honor Club. So I don't think it's a complete waste of money. Because, I like Death Before Dishonor's coming up next month, so I'm looking forward to that. But, man, I hate the fact that I say I'm struggling with Ring of Honor, because we are both huge Ring of Honor fans. Always have been.
For a long time.
And it just hurts my soul. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, there is an interesting note I did not hear at the top of the show, but we have some evidence of Hikuleu showing up in WWE.
Hikuleu. That's Bambaleo from Santana. Never mind.
Yeah. But to clarify, he is wrapped up with New Japan, and WWE has filed a trademark for a name.
I saw that today. I'm going to let you say it, because I'm not saying it.
Now, there's a reason. So bear with me. But the thing that Leo has physically over every other member of his family is what, Rob?
Height.
He is a very tall man. So tall.
How tall is he?
The name that has been trademarked is Tala Tonga. Like Tama Tonga, but taller. For the record, I know why this is the name, though. So one of the things that we have grown accustomed to, especially in Samoan Polynesian families, is very long names with quotes in the middle of them to break things up. But there's usually a shorter name that they wind up using. Hikuleo's real name that he goes by is Taula. Taula, which oftentimes with an accent or something comes out as Tola. So they're just letting him use the name he's used to in his day-to-day life if this is the name they give him. It's not them being lazy and just, oh, he's tall. Yeah, Tala. He's taller than his brothers.
To bring it back around to the beginning of the show, if this happens, if we do not change a man's name to Tala John Shear, I have problems. I want this.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Bask in my genius.
You just made me snort on air.
Bio Swarm.
I hate you so much right now. Oh, screw it. That's the t-shirt. We're done.
Again, if you're not subscribing to How Did This Get Made, what's wrong with you?
And if you're subscribing to this, thank you. But dear God, why?
because of the genius like just happened.
Oh, I know our only listener is just thinking we're morons.
I wouldn't say thinking. Oilers have tied it up. It is 1-1.
Okay.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. We got Tall Tonga in there, so I'm good.
Make sure, we tell you to go to the QR code, but for the people on the audio version, we still have to tell you the things. Make sure you visit our website, www.theclubhousepodcast.com. Find out everything you need to know and some stuff you don't. You can follow us on your social medias. Everything is The Clubhouse Podcast, except for Twitter and TikTok, where that is Clubhouse Show.
Now, I am Vexploit on all social media. To reiterate for those that can see, I am pointing at a QR code in the upper right. That'll take you to our link tree. We'll have links for everything. If you need something a little bit more visual and moving, please go to prowrestlingtees.com/thecheappodcast. Got a lot of different shirts, a lot of different designs, a lot of different color options within there. If you happen to be an artist or know someone who is that wants to contribute, you will get paid for your designs that sell. But you can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
You can follow me on your social medias if you would like. Everything is yes, that Rob Irvin. That is spelled ERVIN. The official fact checker of Sooner Gator Productions is Don Ford. You can follow him on Twitter at Igbunu, IGBUNUUU. You can send me an email. Tell me, questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. We love you too, Sean. I am Rob at theclubhousepodcast.com. Charla Marshall is on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. Hopefully our guest will join us next week. We've got another guest that's coming up very, very soon. I'm very excited about. Also, stay by our social media because we're trying to put some cool stuff together for you guys.
And for the record, when we do have our other special guest, I'm going to blow your wheels off.
How's that different from every other episode?
Oh, because this one's prepared.
Oh, fair enough. We'll be back next Thursday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, and pro wrestling. And remember, you can still get the audio version of this show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Amazon Music. We appreciate every one of yous. We truly, truly do. So until next time, for Alex, for Don, for the Empire, I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed. Brittany Palmer had a photo shoot with her puppy today, and it was very, very cute. She has one of those furry ones. The puppies, it's about
Chow.
a very, very small one.
Pomeranian.
Probably.